This has absolutely knocked my socks off. So, Kier Starmer announces he's going to have an inquiry into the grooming gangs, and today on Facebook, the Tory party put this up. They've announced it as some sort of victory on their part. Now let's just look at this chronologically. One of the first voices that I came across regarding these gangs was Tommy Robinson, who's been banging on about it for decades. And another voice back in 2012, I think the first time he mentioned it, was Nigel Farage, when he got called a racist for bringing up the background of the grooming gangs. He did it again in 2014. This is when he was with UKIP. He's done it several times. He's written op-ed pieces about it. The issue is in the manifesto. He spoke about it again in 2016, in 2017 and 18, and in 2021, 22 and 23. And people like me have been blogging about it. I started in 2015. Christopher Michael Baxter, a guy on Facebook, also blogged about it in 2015, intermittently since that point. So everybody's pretty aware of it. And the public are disgusted with how it's been ignored. Now, the Tory party were in power during this period. They had the whip hand, literally. They were in power. They could have done what they wanted. They could have organised an inquiry. Kier Starmer's been shamefaced into this because of public pressure. Let me tell you why. Patrick Christie from GB News organised a fundraiser for the survivors for Maggie Oliver's foundation. And that raised about £600,000. What does that tell you? That tells me that the public's very bothered about it. Then Rupert Lowe recently, both these events are quite recent, as an independent MP, not a Tory, decided to raise funds, start a crowdfunder to have a private inquiry with no statutory power. So that means it's got no powers to subpoena people to court or get witness statements. But nevertheless, it got a lot of publicity. And yet again, what happened there? Over £600,000 collected from the public. What does that tell you again? It tells you that the public are very, very bothered about this. So the public have known about it all these years, and politicians have known about it, but only really Nigel Farage has spoken out about it. It's only in recent times that one or two out of the whole House have even bothered to address this issue. And now I'm going to read you something from a recent speech by Dominic Cummings, who's worked within Whitehall in the Blob. I'm going to read you a short paragraph from a very long speech he gave at a Pharaoh's speech in Oxford. It's where sort of they get renowned people to share their piercing insight. Well, this is what Dominic Cummings had to say about grooming gangs. So imagine the chronology of events. There's only really been one politician back in the day, Nigel Farage, talking about it. The Tories have ignored it despite they're in power. Labour have ignored it because it just so happens that 99% of the councils involved were Labour councils, bar one. Here's what Dominic Cummings has to say from an insider's perspective. This is his speech, these are his words. The old political parties, the old Whitehall institutions, the old media, the old universities, the old courts constitute a political regime. This regime has become cancerous. The cancer has metastasised, and the cancer is attacking everything healthy in the country. All the healthy institutions and healthy impulses are the target of Whitehall. If you imagine our ancestors who built our civilization over generations looking at a sample of recent years, what would they see? They'd see a regime fighting to maintain secrecy of the vast cover-up of industrialised mass gangs of white English children by Pakistani and Somali gang members over decades, while Whitehall continues to import people from the exact same tribal areas responsible. The system just rumbles on with its own priorities. So, in January, number 10, Downing Street claimed that Elon Musk was spreading conspiracy theories about national cover-ups. This is wrong. I witnessed the attempts at these cover-ups myself when I was working in Whitehall, including the deliberate attempt by government departments to use courts to block reporting of the entire story. So, when he was in Number 10, it was a Tory government. So, correlate all that together, the time scale, how much of the public have been concerned about this, the generosity of the public to participate in giving their money away. These aren't wealthy Tory backers. These are individuals who are sending a tenner and a fiver and 25 quid. These are people that are desperate to see some sort of action on this. We have a government that can actually use the law to make an example of people. It's written down, you're allowed to do it. So they did it with Lucy Connolly. They made an example of Lucy Connolly to stop people making things difficult for the government, I would imagine, so that you can't say too much. So Lucy Connolly was given the hard word and a really stiff sentence for a tweet. But they don't do that with grooming gangs. I mean, if they did, maybe it would be a deterrent, because they've done it with Lucy Connolly to be a deterrent to other people. So if you did it with grooming gangs, I mean, one grooming gang member who repeatedly abused a child has got a sentence that's only 1 year longer than Lucy Connolly, and she didn't damage anyone. She didn't do anything physical to anyone, and she's no criminal record. How can that even be acceptable? You can't accept that as being punishment. And now we've got a Labour Prime Minister who turned around and said that the grooming gang issue was just something that right-wing extremists use as a bandwagon to jump on. You'll find that most of the people that gave their money to these latest two crowdfunders are not right-wing extremists jumping on a bandwagon. They're desperately frustrated voters who have watched their country get neglected on just about every level. And this is one level where we've had enough. We've had enough. Whatever comes of this inquiry, it's still not a victory, because we're told that the Alexis J report has all the details in it, the testimony, the statements. It could be used. The Alexis J inquiry took 7 years. That was a general inquiry into abuse of children, and it cost £184 million, which was spent on lawyers and legal process. And what have we got from it? Well, we're told we've got 7 pillars to follow now for the future to make things safer. 7 pillars. But not one of them have been implemented yet, because one of the pillars to be implemented was to be more thorough and investigate the background of grooming gangs. And it's not been done. So the public sit here completely frustrated, and I am absolutely appalled at the fact the Labour Party have the nerve to put a tweet out or a Facebook post as though it's their victory. You have absolutely no shame, you people. You have helped to let this country go into a steep decline, and then when it's got too much, you've just handed the keys to someone else to finish the job off. You absolutely appalling people. Your party deserves to die in a ditch, just like Boris threatened to. You do not deserve to continue. You do not deserve to resurrect yourselves and survive. We need something else. We need something different. And it certainly isn't you people.